You know, when I was a lad, Mama Jumbo said to me, she said, son, stop putting your winky in the frigging plug sockets. She said, son, I hope when they finally make a movie one day featuring a female astronaut, they won't have her crash land her rocket ship and thus play into harmful stereotypes about women drivers. Well, lucky she died before she saw her worst fears come true here in this new modern sci-fi drama called The Astronaut. Yep, this is a flick released in 2025 and stars one of the interchangeable Mara sisters. Kate maybe? Take your pick. As the titular spacewoman, with supporting turns from Gabriel Luna and Lawrence Fishburne. And honestly, it was all just a bit pants, mate. But first, here's a super quick plot recap. So Sam has just had a bumpy return from a mission in space and has been requested to undergo daily medical and fitness tests to determine if everything is a-okay. Sam begins to experience the kind of things astronauts allegedly might after returning to Earth. Dizziness, tinnitus, hallucinations, strange marks on her body. All totally normal, right? Right?
Wrong.
For upon re-entry into Earth's atmosphere, something mysterious slammed into Sam's pod.
Wow.
Despite those bizarre circumstances, Sam's adopted father General Harris pulled strings to have her stay at an idyllic location in the middle of nowhere in order to recover. Meanwhile, Sam's lengthy time away has put a strain on the relationship with her husband Mark and adopted daughter Izzy. This isn't much helped by a desire to go on future missions, which she can only do if she follows the advice of her fellow astronaut Val. And yes, 59-year-old Macy Gray as an ex-astronaut worked that one out. Who tells her to keep stum about any nasty unnatural symptoms or else risk not going into space ever again. And naturally, things just escalate from there. She privately admits to her husband that she's seeing strange things. He suggests turning off Netflix because season 5 sucked balls anyway.
I understood that reference.
Alas, she thinks an alien has come back with her and is promptly tracking her and terrorising her, but then still doesn't want to share it with anyone official because it might jeopardise her chances of ever going back into space. Even though her relationship is in shambles at best, and she gets very little time with her young daughter, whom she presumably doesn't even want to leave anyway.
At first I was confused, now I'm totally lost.
But folks, the ending is even worse. And note, full spoilers ahead. It's eventually revealed that the couple couldn't have kids because she's in fact secretly an alien refugee who crashed on Earth years ago and camouflaged herself as a nudie naked little girl before Lotta Fishbum took her in as his daughter because reasons and screw national security protocols, I guess.
Based AF.
Anyway, turns out Mark has been engaging in cross-species bestiality for years and that's why she's more devoid of kids than the Minnesota daycare centre.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Look, the film starts well but the first hour drags horrendously. The inciting incident of being confronted by an alien, which should be the end of Act 1, only really happens midway through Act 2, which leaves the first 40 minutes being badly structured and piss poorly paced. I mean, do we need to see endless meandering setup shots of her walking around the woods in her house feeling like she's being watched whilst nothing really actually happens? It takes halfway through the bleeding runtime to even see a glimpse of the monster before it then disappears again till the final act. I mean, that's certainly a choice by the newbie director. Not a great one, but a choice nonetheless.
Don't waste my motherfucking time!
But the whole film is riddled with such bizarre choices and straight up inconsistencies. One of the several distracting questions I had was, why is the house even doing that? The General explains how the safe house automatically locks down if it detects a threat, and then only does so once at the end of the second act. But my question is, if it detects a breach, why lock down the house and potentially trap the victim inside with the intruder? Which is exactly what happens near the bloody end.
There are 3 individuals detected.
I think there's something in the house.
Oh man, we're trapped in here. We're screwed. We're screwed, man.
Why didn't it activate the first night she found footprints all throughout the house? And speaking of, if the deck door is open and there are indeed strange ominous footprints inside, why would you then decide to follow them outside but just immediately lose interest like a kid with ADHD and instead just play about with a bleeding telescope?
I'm retarded?
Like, at the very least there's a wild animal that's got loose in your pad, but she seems to have all the survival instincts of a mouse infected with Toxoplasma gondii. There's no sense of danger on her part as she wanders about the local woods and doesn't even try to reinforce or board up the windows for frig's sake. Gah, some genius bloody astronaut.
You're retarded. I just diagnosed you retarded.
But there's also character inconsistencies too. In one scene she wants to go on a family trip, and the estranged husband's like, I don't know if that's a good idea, babe, insinuating the potential incoming separation, but instead says his real reason was,
"We almost lost you."
Okay. Well, buddy, good news. She's alive now and sitting right there. So go bloody be with her for fuck's sake. Take the opportunity to go and have a nice picnic as a family while you still got time. What the fuck even is this writing? And don't get me started on the general shown in flashback as a young military grunt. He's apparently part of an elite group of soldiers chasing down the fleeing quadruped aliens in the past. Yet we're supposed to believe that he's able to sneak out a random kid what he found out in the woods totally undetected, and then raise her as his adopted daughter without arising suspicion from anyone, including his army superiors, as to his sudden new phony fakey daughter kid with zero paper trail.
Oh, how convenient!
I mean, it's either that, or the army just gives a young nobody soldier permission to keep and raise a young girl what they found in the same stretch of woods where they were hunting shape-shifting aliens, and didn't even bother to do genetic tests on her. Not even to try and trace her real parents, who are presumably missing a small child.
What?
It's all so far-fetched and strains credulity. And yes, even in a movie with lizardy space aliens.
Correct.
Anyway, even without all those problems, the flick is still hella miscast. We're ultimately subjected to the worst Sue Storm with terrible eczema and gnarlier trotters than my Aunt Bessie, sleepwalking through another sci-fi project, whilst Latinx Ghost Rider looks even more bored than lots of Fishburne slumming it for an easy paycheck whilst channeling the energy from his old character from the Signal movie back in the day. Man, that could have been interesting if they revealed they were indeed the same person and this is actually set in the same universe.
Dude, that would have been cool.
But nothing about the way Mara plays a protagonist screams astronaut or even elite competence. Moreover, floating objects barely even seem to phase her or elicit any kind of reaction at all. At one point early in the film, she's less bothered about pencil-thin shafts waving about in the air than my wife on our anniversary night. I just don't believe anything about her. I don't believe she's a mother, I don't believe she's scared, I don't believe she's cooking those fucking eggs, and I certainly don't believe she's a bleeding astronaut.
No chance, mate.
But ultimately, what is this movie even about? Perhaps it's about bigotry, monstrous looking dangerous aliens turning out to be benevolent rescuers. Or is it about lineage and cycles of adoption? Or maybe it's just simply a cautionary tale about the dangers of calling dibs on naked young girls in the woods.
Weird.
I don't know. All I know is it rips off not one but two Spielberg movies, with its E.T. style ending and the Jurassic Park kitchen scene.
I'll see you soon.
Somehow, I don't think you will, girl. Piss poor CG work aside, the tragic adopted daughter somehow loses a second mum in a row, who's now abandoned her to go back to being a poorly rendered space lizard. Lol, as you do. But hold up, that's a question too. Why didn't the alien relative also shapeshift? Surely got to be easier to appear human, rather than trying to approach her in their true form, looking like rejects from the Upside Down.
Nah, it'll be fine.
It's also apparently a remake of the 2020 Russian sci-fi horror Sputnik. Which is weird, because I don't quite remember Oksana Akinshina slowly becoming a scaly praying mantis from Mars, but hey ho, maybe the dubbing was just crap. Look, if I had to scramble for some good things to say about it, then it at least had some nice lighting and sound design, and the end titles were nice to look at I suppose. But ultimately, at 1 hour and 20 minutes, it's a good short film unnecessarily extended to feature length, and not really one I'd ever bother returning to be honest. So in short, the moral of the story is, don't ever try to remake superior films or ever listen to Macy Gray. I mean, she can't even say goodbye without choking.
I fucking knew it!
Anyway, overall, this one was indeed a total train wreck, folks. On a scale of E.T. phone home to E.T. please go home, and preferably without turning me mum into a freaky space lizard, I'd give it 4.5 cries of we could have ended this 30 minutes ago, but here's another shot of an empty room. But hey ho, tell me what you thought of the flick down in the comments. If you liked the vid, please subscribe and I'll see you again next time. And if you didn't and I don't, have a nice life, pal.